We are Steve and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more.
I'm Stephen Jack Butella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2001-3, believe it or not. And today we are interviewing Land Academy member Josiah Ronco. Hello, Josiah. I'm going to start off by actually reading a correspondence that Josiah sent to Joe when we asked him to be on the show once again.
I hope it's okay.
It goes like this.
Okay, good.
Josiah writes to Joe, I've actually been meaning to email you both for a while. My business has absolutely exploded. We did about 3 million top line last year, and we're on track to do 7 to 8 million this year. We just hired a third full timer. My life is very different from 3 years ago, and I'm so grateful for both of you. See you in the Career Path alumni call. How else do you start a show other than
Exactly.
that? All I want to know is how and why and when and what's the magic. We all do. Fill us in, pal.
Yeah.
How does a roadie make $7 million a year?
That's good.
Well, I wish that was net. That's not net yet. We'll get there. Just a good team and lots of mail. And I think for us, niching down instead of going wide into lots of different markets, really focusing on basically all Florida. Just really focusing in one area and really getting to know it really, really well so that we can make decisions quickly instead of taking 3 hours to analyze a deal because we don't know the market.
Good.
So I couldn't agree with you more. We're really surgical also and have been for several years.
Well, especially when you have a team in that area too. So
Yeah.
when people call in,
You can
you're
just
like,
crank
oh,
'em.
yeah, give me an hour and I'll have an escrow number.
Yeah.
So
We'll do cheap deals too. We do the deals. We'll do deals now where we know it's like, oh, we're going to make like $4 or $5 grand, but it's like, it's so easy to do. It's like, well, it's going to take me 20 minutes of my time, if that. Whereas in a new market, there's no way. If we do try a new market, we're really cutting off, or we're filtering out, we don't want to do the low margin deals in a new market because there's too many question marks. It could turn into a bad deal in a new area. But in areas where it's like, oh, we've done 4 deals in this subdivision before, of course we're going to do that deal, because it's not going to take any time at all.
Yeah, a template.
I got to ask you, do you buy stuff in Lehigh Acres?
I've done like,
I love it.
it's funny. I kid you not. I was just on a phone call with a broker of ours, and he's like, we were talking about probates because we just completed a deal where we had to get 3 probates done to clear title. And he was like, oh, I need to talk to you. I got this deal I'm working on. This lady reached out to me. Her parents own the property. She's got the will or whatever. And we're talking about it. And I was like, and then he's like, yeah, it's in Lehigh Acres. I was like, get out of here. That's all. So long story short, I think I've done like 1 deal in Lehigh Acres. Actually, I think I bought a property from you guys in Lehigh Acres. I think I bought a property from you guys on garage sale a couple years ago.
There's a reason.
Makes sense. Would you make $300-$400?
No. I mean, it was respectable.
Yeah.
No, we sold it. It was respectable. I think we made like $6 or $7 grand. It was worth doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It wasn't bad. Yeah.
That's good. We should bring that back.
Yeah.
If I have anything.
It was fun.
So,
I liked bidding on those.
To hit these kind of top line revenue numbers, you must have your acquisition pipeline linked. So can you let us shed some light on that?
I think I have some notes over here. I think part of it, something to be honest, I haven't listened to the podcast in a while because I don't have time to listen to podcasts as much anymore. But I remember a couple years ago, when I found out about you guys, you would talk a lot about overwhelming. Like, I don't remember exactly how you worded it, but like overwhelming yourself with opportunities to where you can be, so you can be choosier. I think we've done a pretty good job at that. Like, even we have a business coach right now, and according to him, he says we do a good job at being a sales driven business rather than an operationally driven business. Like, the sales and the acquisitions is that's gas in the tank, as opposed to like building SOPs for things that haven't happened yet, or having this perfectly squeaky, clean, organized pipeline. Sometimes our pipeline is a mess, like, because we have so much stuff going on, I think,
spot.
It's like, and sometimes, I mean, I feel bad. We're trying to get better at it though, because I don't like when we like forget to get back with someone for 10 days. Like, I think that sucks, but what's the alternative? I don't know.
What is it? Not a mess. It's always a mess. I grew up in an industrial environment where I knew my parents or my friends' parents and my parents own companies and industrial environments. And I'd always see them on the weekend, and they're kicking back with their feet up and they've got a scotch in their hand laughing. And I'm like, that guy has this all figured out. He's reached his zen. Everything's going great. And I know now, as a professional adult, he's pounding scotch because everything's a disaster. But he's still making some money. He's still, he's still doing okay. He's still living in it. And I realize that's the norm. I guess we're doing okay.
We
doesn't feel like that all the time.
As we're running around trying to get new equipment and fix this and do that, there's a reason.
It's always a mess, though. It always looks just a huge mess. We bring some money out of it at the end.
That's good for everyone to hear, the fact that you are reiterating what you found, which is when the faucet and all this stuff's coming back at you, and you feel bad. I didn't get back to that person. Well, there's only one reason why, because a better deal came along. That's why. Otherwise, you would have called that person right away and not let it go. So, oops. And you can still circle back around and get it in a week and go, hey, are you still interested? Because I now have time to do this kind of thing.
Jill said to me a couple days ago, I'd like to review 10 deals a day.
Oh, yeah.
And I never thought about it. I never thought to ask her how many deals a day she wants, and then work backwards from that. How much mail do I need to send out? It's a lot.
Yeah. That's a good, I like that, having a goal. I haven't thought about, we've been talking a lot about our goal. We started doing EOS and like traction as a group back in January. And that's a goal I haven't thought, like we've talked about like revenue goals and like how much mail we want to send out goals. But I like that idea of we want to review 10 deals a day. Like we want to have 10, whatever you want to call that, 10 net leads in the CRM every day.
So my immediate reaction to her when a sentence was just leaving, the last part of the sentence leaving her lips was, we would make an absolute fortune if she was reviewing 10 deals a day instead of probably 10 to 15 a week. And if you're reviewing 10 deals, one or two of them is going to be really good.
Yeah.
You're busy.
Anyway, enough about us. We're here to interview you. I just, I still can't get over this 3 million. How'd you hit 3 million last year? What were the
I think that we, our average deal size is not huge. Like, I think like around 20K is like average gross profit on a deal. But there's a few huge ones that just, I actually would be curious. I could figure it out, but it would take too much time. I'd be curious what our median is, because I think there's like a couple big deals that make up most of that number, most of that revenue number. And that's what we did last year. We had a couple really big deals that took a lot of time, and then we had a bunch of base hits that we did, which I like, especially now that The other reason I think I like doing those base hits is because the monthly spend just keeps getting, as I hire more people, as we send more mail, as we add more software tools to our suite of tools, that monthly burn to cover gets higher. So I like when we have that base hit or whatever, it's like, okay, this is covering even actually our last 2 months have been like slow months as far as sales. Like basically we've sold enough property just to cover expenses like the last 2 months. So that for me, I think that helps me sleep a little better at night, knowing that kind of steady cash flow is coming in.
Right.
I gotta ask, with this volume, how many deeds are you signing a week? Or did you give power of attorney to someone on your team? I know what that's like.
We've been
seriously.
We've been talking about this. We just hired a full-time transaction coordinator that she started like 3 weeks ago. She's like transaction coordinator plus, really. So she's doing right now we have an acquisitions manager. So she's on the phone. I have a friend of mine that's doing like all of our marketing and like data, pricing mailers, comping properties. And then we have a transaction coordinator who's doing like phase 2 due diligence, communicating with title, just prepping docs. Like she was pulling death certificates last week for a file where we needed the death certificates from Illinois or something and recorded them in Florida. And so, but anyway, so she's a notary and we've been talking about like at a certain point right now, it seems to work out where I only make one notary trip a week and I just sign all the deeds in that one trip. And it's not too bad. There's a notary around the corner. It's easy. But I think at some point, like if my wife and I ever hire like a house manager person or a personal assistant, I would probably pay for that person to get their notary license so that I could just sign at home. Or I've heard of that, like doing like a corporate memorandum or whatever, so that somebody else can sign for you, or like what you're saying, like a limited power of attorney, something like that. Because eventually it's going to become like too many to do. It'll be a part-time job just signing deeds. Like
that's my point.
We've been there.
Because we've always had staff members in office that can do notarizing at any time. But it's a hassle. It's like I'm not coming in every day because another one came in. I'm like, we had to batch them together. So that was like my Thursday. Everybody knew I'd be in the office on Thursday. That I'd sign them all at one time. Let's just do it then. Because it gets this is so funny. Like, oh, gee, these are your troubles. You have to sign these because you sold something. True. But this is real world, big time investor issues.
I'm gonna tell a couple of anecdotal stories, and I'm gonna preface it by saying this: at this day and age, I would never do what I'm about to say. But in the past, times are different, and we just did it, and that's how it worked. It always worked out great. I have had people sign my name that worked for me. One person specifically, just she had my signature. I've had signature stamps made of my.
I remember that one. That was a good one.
And I've had notaries sitting, multiple notaries in the office watching me sign. And that's how many deals that we've done in the past. Just a deal machine. Never, ever do that stuff. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it was a whole different world back then.
Yeah.
So now,
well, you guys
we don't even notarize each other's signatures anymore because we used to do that.
We used to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess back then too, you guys were cranking through those eBay lots as well, or maybe and you're self-closing a lot of those, right? So you're not, it was a little more mechanical. You could make it a little more mechanical probably on those, I imagine. Yeah. It's funny. These like problems, it's just funny. These little problems that you don't like are puzzles to solve that you don't even think about. Like, but as you do more and more, it's just even Jenny is the name of my friend that does our marketing and data and pricing. And it's like, we talk a lot about, okay, where are our bottlenecks? And she's really in the last week or two, we've realized with the mail volume with sending 25 or 30,000 letters a month, like she's just like, I don't have time to comp any more properties than I'm comping. So we're trying to figure out, it's like, okay, maybe that's our next hire. Maybe our next hire is a VA that's just comping properties for 30 hours a week. That's all they do. I don't know.
You can mechanize that. We've mechanized that in the past.
Yeah.
And then you check it. If it's way off, you forget it. If it's wow, this might be work, then you go back and check all the work. So now you're only checking 10 or 20% instead of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if the VA has real trouble comping, comp means establishing comparison values to see if you are actually buying a property that's, hopefully 20% of retail. When you comp a property out, it should be 20 to 30% of what those comparison values are. And if they, what often happen in the real world is, I'm saying this more for people who are listening than anything, is that you can't find comparison values. And so that's kind of a sort of a yellow flag, not a red flag, but a yellow flag too. That's where I think your business model comes in great, because you can look at it and say, there's no comps, but I know what this is going to sell for.
Yeah.
I know this is a good deal or it's not a good deal.
Yeah. There's so much art to it.
We would pass that off. We would just say, I don't know. It's not conservative enough.
We don't know the area.
There's so much art to it with, it's funny when I've looked at deals in like Colorado, say, where topography is a thing, whereas in Florida, for the most part, topography it's been an issue, like maybe on 2 properties ever that I've looked at in Florida. It's like our thing is wetlands. So we're comfortable with that. We can look at a property that's got a lot of wetlands and flood zone, and I can look at it and just kind of have a gut feel that is so far always accurate about like, okay, this is probably about what it's going to go for. Whereas I look at topography, properties with a bunch of topography, I'm like, I have no idea how to value this compared to what else is out there. I think that's just the value of, I don't know, drilling in on your market and just really learning it really well.
I think gut check is an integral part of due diligence. And then what it gives you is confidence. What I'm hearing you say, between the lines, you look at a deal and you have some confidence based on real experience, or maybe just your personality that, this deal's going to work for us.
Yeah.
For me now, it's like, how fast can we sell it? So yes, it's a great deal. I love everything about it. It's priced right. It's going to take 6 months to sell. We might not do it.
Yeah.
Speed's real important to us lately for some reason.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I never worry. I still run around Josiah, I'm still you win when you buy it. I never pay attention if it takes 3 days or 3 weeks or 3 months to sell, whatever. I knew how it was going to go. I don't care.
Well, I'm the cash manager, so I do care.
I know.
That's been.
It's actually funny right now because we have one that's closing. He's like, we both kind of forgot about it. He's like, oh yeah, how much money's coming back in on that one? I'm like, oh, this is a good one. Too. Yeah, I don't, and I forgot too. What did we spend on it? I'm like, I have no idea. I have to go look. No idea.
It's our last California property, actually.
Yeah.
It's weird that the timing of sales. I'm curious what you guys think about this. Like, I didn't start in this business until 2020. So I feel like I kind of came in at maybe a time that was easy to get spoiled in terms of how tight days on market would be. What I'm surprised about now is we have properties that we've sold some properties in the last few months that they sat on the market 10, 11 months. We never adjusted the price because I was being stubborn. Yep. And then it sold for like full price or within 5% of full price. And it's just an interesting, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, do I just get way too impatient sometimes with other deals? Sometimes I'm looking at a deal and I'm like, oh, we haven't been getting many calls we haven't sold it in 3 weeks. Something must be wrong. Our price must be wrong or whatever. And then it's like, and then I have to like check myself. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, since when does since when do we assume it's always going to be normal for inventory to be turning over unless you're pricing it at 70% of retail value or whatever, which I'm not doing that. I mean, we're pricing things at, 100% of retail.
Nice.
I don't know.
This topic, it's interesting you bring this up because this is a huge topic right now. Lack of, I'll just call it this, lack of patience and concern that things aren't happening fast enough. I sent all this mail out, nobody's getting a response. So there's this this underlying theme that I've noticed, because I really do believe that there's a different type of personality that's getting into this business now, because there's a lot more instructors out there. They're really, you're a career land buyer, and I think you were before you even started buying your first property. I just think that's, you're a career business owner, and that's just your deal. Yeah. So I think there's other people that are entering the business thinking that it's going to be a day trading situation. It's just not. Yeah. You have great months, you have terrible months, you have months that cover, you have months that don't. You have amazing mailers, and then you have mailers that just suck wind. That's just part of it. Yeah. So can you tell, what do you think that's all about? Like, why can you swallow that? Or are you just, are you faking it on the show here?
Swallow the ups and downs? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I think truthfully, I struggle with it. I'll look at, we just did a mailer where the mail went out 4 months ago. It was about 10,000 units. We got 19 leads from that mailer. So not a great response rate. We got one deal from that mailer so far. Now we might get deals in a few months. Who knows? You never know what's going to come back, but we got one deal. So I'm looking at that. I'm like, man, 10,000 letters. We got one deal. This sucks. But then it's like, well, okay, that one deal, gross profit on that deal was like $30K. So it's like, okay, well, the mail paid for itself and we had some profit. Now, if that was the only deal we did that month, I guess we didn't really make any profit because that barely covers the burn rate. But I don't know. Sometimes that does bug me, when we have a crappy mailer, it does annoy me.
Do you think it's something you did or it's just a market situation? I'm digging deep into this topic because it's everywhere right now. This topic, everybody's so interested. Everybody's so immediately negative when it doesn't go their way.
Oh, true. Good point.
In this case, I'd say in our case, I'm fairly confident that our mailers are priced appropriately. On average, they're priced appropriately. I think the different mail pieces we're testing out are all good. They all work. It's like all marketing. It all works. It's just some of it works for some people, some of it for others. But I don't know. I think also for me, I'm pretty conservative financially. So I think keeping plenty of cash in the checking accounts that also helps me stay calm and sleep well when we have a slow 2 months of acquisitions and sales. It's just you have to me, that's that war chest allows me to weather the storm, I guess, more comfortably. I don't know. I'm not one of these people that can run the bank balance down to $5,000 and feel good about that. that would stress me out. Yeah. Especially with payroll and everything now. I don't know. I think I'm impressed when I talk to people that are new and send out a ton of mail and struggle at first and they keep going. I think that's a great quality. I think that's that's a really cool quality.
It's longevity.
Yeah.
I was going to say, along those lines, you talked about this recently, and now I've been reiterating what you say. So I want to ask Josiah's take on this. You've said, look, you guys got to plan on taking 2 years to really hit your stride and figure this out, and then be able to be confident and somewhat consistent. How much time was it for you, Josiah?
Well, for me, I quit my day job. I quit my day job about 10 months after sending out my first mailer, but I was in a different, my day job had become unsustainable just because of the amount of traveling that I was doing and being gone. And I think I was in a fortunate position because I had already been investing in real estate for 11 years before I started doing land. So it was like I owned rental properties. I had cash flow from those. I had savings. I had a lot of equity I was able to tap into in the form of like lines of credit. So I think like for me, that 10 months was accelerated because I started from a stronger financial position. But I think 2 years is much more for the average person. If you're starting with 20K in your bank account, that's 2 years is probably a lot more realistic. And I think like, man, I always tell people like, because I've seen it where people really start making a little money and they start jacking up their lifestyle like right away. And it's like, yo, just chill out on that. Like keep your lifestyle the same,
Walk off the car lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a zero debt rule, even mortgage debt.
Yeah.
To zero.
Yeah. Boy, I debate on that. I've been debating on paying off the house. I can't decide. It's hard to pay it off when the interest rate is so low.
True. I understand the argument
We're getting 5.5% revenue on CDs interest and 3% fixed mortgage, and it doesn't make sense to not do that. So we have broken our rule, I guess once in the last few years on that, but it's still that's the only reason.
Yeah, because you could just take all that money to pay off your house and stick it in a CD, right? Is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other than that, we don't do debt other than that kind of thing. Yeah. And lines of credit, we do. What's that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I want to know about your line of credit.
Oh, we'll use lines of credit sometimes with the bit. I mean, we do. It's funny how it's like I fund deals, but I also get funding on deals. And then we have lines of credit. And then there's 2 hard money lenders I work with as well. And we'll do hard money loans on some properties, but it's like a non-recourse hard money loan. Yeah. So it's different, it's tied to the property only. Yeah. But
everybody's dying to know what the secret sauce is with you, pal.
Yeah.
Everybody's dying for you to spill the beans about.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. He's been, he's into the industry for 10 years and he's obviously a super bright guy and he's got Florida locked down, but they need something more. Like, what is it about you?
It is good.
You always make me blush when you ask me questions like that.
I think it's a dynamic personality. I think you have a dynamic personality and you're not going to fail at anything you do, you believe in.
It's nature, I think, definitely. I think you don't know how to fail.
Well, I'll say I'm obsessed with this business model. Like I love this specific, I love looking at maps. I love, like for me, most of what I get to do in this business doesn't really feel like work. So I think that's probably, if it feels like a grind, that's probably a lot tougher for someone to succeed. Not to say you can't succeed, but this doesn't really feel like a grind to me. Like, I mean, there's certain things I do on a daily basis I don't like doing, but most of what I get to do, I like doing. I think that helps. I don't know. Have a good team, hiring a good team.
That helps.
We're in southwestern Colorado right now in an RV and for this entire summer because it's real hot in Phoenix. And this is the first summer that we've been here for the past 3 years. This is the first one where I've had a motorcycle, like a dual sport motorcycle. And if I have 2 hours between meetings, anything close to 2 hours, I go look at real estate on a bike.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's in my soul too. I know it's Jesus in here.
Oh gosh, yes.
And that really helps. And I think there's a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you mailing around where you're staying in the RV den?
Yes, but
that's awesome.
We're doing it. We're sending out a neutral
personal use.
We're paying.
Oh,
We will pay over retail for a Joe Ready asset.
We're going to go totally off the Land Academy model and eat our words on everything because it's for personal use. But it will all be paid cash. We're going to do all the other smart things that we know to do and bring in what we know. So yeah, it's kind of funny now and then. We looked at some property recently, had a house on it. And it wasn't until a couple days later that we kind of let the guy in on, what we know. He's like, I kind of figured you knew a little more than the average Joe coming into this kind of thing. And so it was kind of funny.
We'll never pay retail.
No.
It's all.
Oh, no.
But no, I honestly, I don't think this, I'm not sure where we are now with past the red, green, yellow test. In fact, I'm pretty sure.
It probably won't.
And just days on market alone, because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
You never want to live where you send mail.
That's good.
I've done that. It hasn't come back to bite me yet. I've definitely sent mail like in my own county. So far, it's no problem.
I waited for your
I used my name.
You have Ronco in there?
Next door neighbor knocked on your door. Josiah, hello.
I did. I mean, I'm not. So I haven't mailed houses in like Tampa, Florida, but I've mailed land around here, and so far, no problems. But
that's awesome.
Well, our next career path is coming up in October, right? Mm-hmm. And we're all getting a pretty good response. And I have to say, if things don't dramatically change, we would love to have you there just as a guest, free of charge, just because I think
I would love that.
I'm working on with him too. Well, I was going to reach back around to you to that other thing too that we talked about. So.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I would love that.
And it would include that. So we'll work on that.
You're just super inspirational, even to us. Very inspirational.
Thank you.
And you're a model of why we started Land Academy. And I hope you do $7 or $8 million this year. It'd be amazing.
Thank you. I hope so too.
I haven't done the math. I'm going to go back and do the math. What's all of that divided by 20,000 a deal? That's a lot of deals. That's where I thought
that's a lot of deals. Yeah. It's funny. I still, because I was in Career Path too, I still am on. I don't get on the call every week, but a couple of us that were in that Career Path meet on Fridays for a call, and it's great. Like I still am in touch with a bunch of those people. Actually, I've gotten to hang out with Buck. I actually got to meet Buck in person this year in January. We went on a trip, like a mastermind trip to Puerto Rico together, us and like 7 other people. And so I got to spend like a whole week in Puerto Rico with Buck, and then I get to I'm going to an event in Colorado at the end of June, and I'm going to meet Carson for the first time. Carson Schaefer. So cool. And it's like, I talked to Carson on the phone. Like, it's just cool how like that, like I'm still in touch with a bunch of those people from that career path, and like still like texting on the phone. A couple of us have done deals together. So it's just cool how that, those relationships have like stuck around. I mean, that was 3 years ago. So it's cool. Like, some of us have made a lot of money together doing deals and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Totally.
The next, Joe and I are recording right after this, a show that will air. I don't know when it'll air, sometime in the future, about, you can't cynicism your way into wealth. I just think that we live in this cynical world now. And I think that, but you can camaraderie your way into wealth, which is what you're describing. You have to surround yourself with like-minded people that, I'm sure Carson specifically, I am sure he's, what I loved about that career path that he was in was, from a tech standpoint, there's probably a way better way for you guys to all do this. And he always just brought the tech piece into it, where I think you brought this energy, and I kind of bring the mechanics, the pistons going up and down. Yeah. So I think that's what real camaraderie is. Yeah. That's cool. Nobody's judging the person like, Carson, your way sucks. No one would ever say that in this group. Yeah. Yep. Really, really glad this Land Academy worked out for you, Josiah. Just makes
Me too.
Proud.
I will definitely be in touch, by the way. So,
Yeah, do it.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Before we leave, do you have any advice for new people?
Let me just look at my notes here. I think I would just say treat this like a business as soon as you can. The sooner you start thinking about it like that, I think as opposed to just like a little hobby, I think you'll hit bigger success sooner. And then for me, a big thing is what I've been telling people a lot about, is I read this book a couple years ago and I keep rereading it. It's called Deep Work by Cal Newport. I recommend everybody reads that book, and I think set aside time, like you talk about this, Jack, like you have to setting aside time to work on those big things that move the needle. So if that's getting the mail out or whatever, but you have to for me, I don't do it every morning, because sometimes I'll get off schedule. I'll let my inbox run my life instead of the other way around. But for the most part, I've gotten really disciplined about, and I think everybody should do this, just whether it's with work or their personal life, but set aside time early in the morning where your inbox is shut off, your phone is in the drawer, and you are working on something big that moves, whether that's a mailer or, making a bunch of organizational changes to your CRM, or researching a new market to send mail to, or building out a KPI sheet, whatever it is, or building SOPs for somebody you're going to train for a job. You can't do that kind of meaningful work and be responding to text messages every 5 minutes. That's not how real shit gets done. So I think setting aside time. And if you talk to somebody like a Carson, Carson is spending a lot of time probably programming software that he's not checking his email every 10 minutes while he's doing that. He's not on, I love Discord, but he's not on Discord every 10 minutes while he's working on a deep project. So I think it's important. It's not to say your inbox is important too. It's not to say you can't just totally ignore your phone or your email, but you have to have a dividing line between those two things to get the big stuff done every month or quarter or whatever. So that would be my advice to people.
And you're the owner and the leader, and like it or not, labels or not, you're the CEO. You're leading the deals, you're leading their staff, and you're the big picture person. That's the reason you're here.
Yeah.
Bill Gates used to. I read a thing about Bill Gates a lot of years ago. He would take something called Think Week, and he would for a week. He used to own this little cabin, piece of crap real estate on the water in near Seattle.
Yep.
And stock the refrigerator full of Diet Coke. He probably doesn't do that anymore, but for me back in the day, it would have been Diet Coke and cigarettes, but that's long over. And he would come back out of that with the new business idea that he's going to work on, and why kinetic energy works the way it works. And I agree with you. You got to take a step back, whether it's every morning or, on Friday or something.
Yeah.
It's great advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been awesome.
It's
Happy
good to see you
catch
guys.
up with you. Thank you very much.
Great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sending me your little note back. And I'm we gotta talk. No, we gotta get together. So good. Right.
Joe will be catching up with you on that other thing.
Yes.
And we'll let you know about career paths. But he would be a welcome addition to the next career path. Totally.
Cool. Yep. Thank you. Awesome.
All right. We'll see you in a couple weeks on our member call for the alumni
Sounds good.
call. Yep. Hopefully you're there. So good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Thank you.
We hope you find our content valuable, and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.